If you're having paranormal issues, contact us at mwghosthunters.com. From the files of the Midwest Ghost Hunters.
All right, Midwest Ghost Hunters site investigation, recorder 1.
Oh, Dustin, right there. Something just moved behind you.
Yes, it did.
What the was that?
What happened?
Something touched my ear, man.
What's that?
This is Dark Matter with Midwest Ghost Hunters.
Thanks for downloading another episode of our podcast. We're here at Pythian Castle in Springfield, Missouri, and we were just kind of sitting here listening through some of our investigations we've done, over the years. We were kind of talking about,
The good old days.
we were talking about, different, it's like, you remember when that happened? And then, I was like, I've got that right here. We just kind of pulled them up listening. I was like, let's just go ahead and let's get going on this, and we can record this, and, that's a show right there. That's kind of our mindset. So that's what we're doing here, is we're kind of just looking through investigations that we've done and pulling out, not necessarily a full rundown of each one, but just kind of playing a few of these just to remind me, or not even remind, maybe for new listeners, just so you can hear some of this shit for the first time.
Hunter might not have even heard some of these.
Hunter probably hasn't heard a lot of these. I mean, hell, How old was he when some of these were captured?
Ghost Hunter was in elementary.
Grade? Yeah. So let's go ahead and we're just randomly looking through. Now, this house...
And before we even start, we need to apologize for the quality of some of these.
Well, yeah, these recorders...
Let's keep in mind this was back in 2006, some of them?
Yes, I'd say easily. And these recorders we don't even own anymore. This was back whenever we were just using, once upon a time, whenever you would go to a college class, you didn't take an iPad and write shit down with your Apple Pencil. You set a recorder on the desk and, you recorded shit if you wanted to capture, everything that was being said. And that's what these recorders were really designed to do. So that's what we were using back then. Now, we don't have these anymore, but yeah, you're right. Some of the audio on some of these is pretty fucking flimsy.
The newer recorders we use now have built-in tie mics, so they really pick up.
Yeah, so these are definitely going to sound much more distorted simply because that's as good as these recorders can do.
Not all of them. But some of them,
it shouldn't impede you hearing what we're pointing out. But yeah, just the overall quality is going to be a little different than you're used to. Now, what was that?
Did you hear that?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. The overall quality is going to be less than you're used to. So we're just going to kind of bounce around here a little because we were just sitting here remembering. It's like, I forgot when we went, all the way up there.
I hate it. It's like such a stereotype of ghost people where they're like, did you hear that?
I know. They make shirts. Did you hear that say, did you hear that? Yeah. We need to come up with a different phrase.
Hear that, did you?
We could just say, hark.
That's what Yoda says when he's a ghost. Yeah. When he's a ghost.
Hear that, did you?
We're going to get sued by Disney.
Yeah. So we're just kind of bouncing around here from one investigation to the next. Now, I know we all do because we were just talking about it before we started. This house was in Bolivar, Missouri. Me and John, Dustin, and Tyler were the only 4 people there. It was just us.
That was the whole group?
That was the whole group, yeah. So we were there and just had a variety of claims for this house. One of them being a cedar chest in particular that she had brought in, that the activity started once she brought in this cedar chest. That cedar chest sat in that same room where we were sitting on that bed that we were talking about earlier. So let's just go ahead and let's just play a couple of these from this house, and then we'll bounce on to the next one. The one I'm getting ready to play right now, I honestly don't know if I've pushed the play track on this button in a decade. I really don't remember if I have. So I don't know what's on the other side of this, but I'm going to play it here and just kind of see if this jars our memory a little bit. Again, this was from a home in Bolivar, Missouri.
Just lights and they won't hurt you. Jamie lives here and is scared to come home. Have you been scaring her?
Okay.
Why won't you leave?
Yeah. That's
exactly it. And I can go to that spot.
Do it again. Go to that spot.
Okay, let me go ahead and go to that spot.
God, I just got a chill down my back because that's clearly to me what that says.
Oh yeah, that's what we wrote.
It's exactly what it says.
That's what we wrote here. Is in the description.
Just such a creepy freaking thing to hear. Why won't you leave?
So here's another one that I just for the life of me cannot fucking remember at all. So John says, "Would you like for two of us to go to the bed. Okay, we played that one. I think that's the one we played a little. Let me go ahead and play it. Let's just play this one now.
We can maybe hear you. Can you make some noise? Would you like for two of us to go back to the bedroom again?
Is that it right there? What is that?
I remember that one. I remember that one.
I don't.
Tyler and I, we made comments about it. How it sounds like something from a video game we play.
So anyway, what got us started talking about this investigation at all was we were talking about some of the EVPs that we've heard over the years with our ears before, sometimes you don't discover these till you listen back. However, I'm going to say, bouncing back to the last podcast that we were talking about, everybody needs to shut the fuck up. I do like on these, the silence.
Yeah, we're asking a question and then shutting up.
Yeah, because usually, even now, when we ask a question to shut up, you're going to hear my dumbass or your dumbass.
Someone else, somewhere else in the house.
Or his really dumbass.
Yeah, having a conversation.
Over there.
This last time, because of the amount of audio that I go through, and I'm so used to it being contaminated, that's why in this investigation at Ashley's house, multiple times people kept saying, is John up here? Is John even up here? Because I would just be lurking in the corner there, just as quiet as I could be because of the amount of audio I've had to throw out.
Unfortunately, one guy being quiet ain't going to get us anywhere.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying that's where I was trying to do that. And that's because you really get a front row seat for that when you review as much audio as I have over the time.
We need to make a conscious effort, and next time we will. Because, listening to these older, really, like I said last time.
It's nice because you can actually listen to the silence. Mm-hmm. It's now on our EVPs. It's so hard to listen to the silence because there is none.
It's a shame because our recorders now are top of the line.
I know.
The quality is excellent.
Our communication abilities are way above and beyond they've ever been.
Well, but that also makes it harder, too, because these recorders now will catch something that is happening 3 rooms over, whereas the others would not.
But my point is, we've got, hell, me and Tyler can walkie-talkie on our damn watches. We've got actual walkie-talkies on our hip. We can text each other. We have all these means of communication. We've just gotten a little used to and a little lazy with watching the ambient noise in the background because it's so hard, even on the really good EVPs that we play back now, to hear them because there's some motherfucker talking somewhere. Mm-hmm. Me, I'm including myself probably more than anybody. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's play. I want to play one more of these from this investigation. This is the one me and Dustin was talking about earlier when we were sitting on the edge of the bed in the room where that cedar chest that I talked about earlier actually was.
Are you in here? I heard that. What did it sound like to you? Whoa. Whoa.
That's me leaving the room. In disbelief of what I just heard because I remember that we heard it with our ears.
So that one was pretty interesting. Now this is a house that's also in Willard, but not to be confused with the Willard house that we talk about frequently. This is a house owned by a lady. I assume she's still there. I have no idea. Named Barbara, and this is the one you probably heard. You probably heard John talk about stopping by that time.
This one gets overshadowed.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
This one gets overshadowed by the other Willard house, but there was some shit going on.
This house was pretty crazy.
Yeah, this house was crazy to the point to where law enforcement was called to this.
Well,
house.
And this is the one that I was on my way home, and Chris sent me a message, says, "Hey, can you go by Barbara's house?" And I said, "I don't have anything to record anything. I don't have anything with me. I mean, I can't really." Said, "Just go by there. Freaky stuff is going on right now." And so she sent Chris sends a message to Barbara. I walk in, and Barbara thinks like that the head Ghostbuster has arrived, that all of a sudden I'm going to be able to do something, which I can't. And I'm in Barbara's house at this point in time. She's telling me the story about supposedly the entire table levitated off the ground in front of her to where she saw that. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, this probably isn't what's going to happen here. You've got to be mistaken. And I hear this loud boom. The whole house shakes. Now, Willard does have a rock quarry, and they do dynamite over there, and she's not a long way away from it, but it's much later in the day than they're ever doing that. So I don't think that could have been it. But something shook the whole house, and I see this giant shadow just engulfed from one side to the other, just moving around the house while this explosion is going off.
And we caught a shadow figure there on video. If you go to our website, mwghosthunters.com, and you click on the evidence investigations page, this is Barbara's house in Willard, so you can see everything we're talking about there. But this is the one I was going to play from that place. You've heard us talk about the other Willard house. We heard a screeching sound inside. This is one of the few times we were actually able to capture something that sounds very similar to that, except this time it was inside Barbara's house in Willard. Let's listen to this one.
Not growling, but whining.
Yeah.
That's it.
What would that be in a domestic home? What the fuck that doesn't have any exotic birds?
The thing that I remember this because I was trying to debunk this desperately because I did not want this to be what I heard. But the thing that I thought of that it might sounds like in any other house, it's like a screen door.
It could be like a
opening
squeaking
or closing.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking about that and checking.
There was no screen
door. They didn't have one.
No, because we had to use the front door. Remember?
Yeah, it was like a wooden door.
Yeah.
But like my screen door at home sounds kind of like that. When you close it.
If there was any explanation,
but they didn't have one.
Yeah, that would be an explanation. In many instances, it's like a squeaky hinge.
The other option is a demonic pterodactyl.
Or a really, really squeaky floorboard.
So you'll see if you go to our website to this particular page, you're going to see a couple of pictures here at the top. What we had done, I think Dustin, I don't remember who did this. There was a deck of cards laying out.
This is
and you took the 4 top cards and just laid them across the lip of the table. And then while we stood there, just talking about getting the investigation started, putting batteries and shit, I remember the bag was sitting on the kitchen table and you had set these cards. You did that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then whenever we turned around to start putting our recorders down or whatever, one of them was turned over.
Right.
One of them.
And no one's going to believe, people will be like, you did that. But none of us did that.
None of us were over there.
Can you imagine if we had a camera set up at those cards?
To see that happen, I would give anything to see that happen. I can't even picture what that would look like happening.
I don't know. I've thought about that.
I have too.
Did it go up in the air and flip around?
That's what I mean. I don't know.
This house actually got to the point where the cops wouldn't go in the house anymore.
The
Remember
cops
that?
were called here, right?
Yeah.
I remember
the
that.
sheriff's department.
And they wouldn't go inside. They stayed in the yard.
The actual sheriff came out to the house to see the house himself because he got tired of hearing his deputies talk about the haunted house. Remember that?
Yes.
And then he went in.
I do. I remember, them saying that they would stay in the yard, but they wouldn't go inside.
Should maybe contact her again.
I know. I've contacted
that would be
her
a
daughter.
really interesting one to go back to 20 years later.
I could contact her daughter again. I have her daughter's phone number. I do not have Barbara's number, but I do have her daughter. Her daughter was the contact for that.
You should do that
investigation.
I would like to go back.
I do still have the daughter's phone number. I know because I see it all the time. Her name is very similar to one of my people at work. I have to text, and I always see her name pop up when I start typing their name in. So I know I have her phone number.
Reach out to them because I actually go by their house from time to time.
I could drive to their house right now. I know exactly where it is.
It'd be interesting to know if they still live there, if they still have activity, because it was one of the most active places. It gets overshadowed, like I said, by that other place.
I will definitely get a hold of the daughter and see if we can get back in there because that's been a long time. That's where hell, we were investigating the Hat Man before we ever even knew if freaking Hat Man existed.
See, I would love to do that house again, and that house there on the first level, we could lay the pod track in and cover that entire house, top to bottom. And then what we're going to do is we're all going to leave and go someplace that's not that house. That way, nobody can do anything.
So I'll definitely get back in touch with her and see if we can maybe get back in there because that one I do have contact information and I can get a hold of someone.
Really, if you think about it, the only reason that other Willard house stands out more than that one is because it burnt to the ground.
It's gone. Yeah, it's completely gone. And it's so bizarre. And I know people have heard us talk about this over and over and over, and possibly to the point where they're tired of it, but I will never be. So you'll just have to bear with me for a minute. It's so weird because I used to, there for a while, I was covering a facility in Willard with my work. And one day I was down there. I texted John. I was like, I'm going to go find that. I said, I have time. I'm going to run by that house. And I drove out there just by memory. I remembered how we went. And I went out there and I found the curve, but then I got to looking around. I was like, this isn't it. So I went further and further and further. And I turned around and went all the way way back, and I went down another road and went again. I was like, this isn't it. It's the first place I went. And I went back to that S-curve again. I was like, I know 100% this is it. It was right there, but there's nothing there.
That's one of the only times I've ever seen a house burn down and nothing is left. Normally, the chimney, there's some of the base of the house that's left. They literally dug up all that stuff.
It's
they
all
removed
gone.
it.
Now it's just one solid, continuous field. There's no hint of a driveway. There's no hint of drainage. Under the. I remember there was like drainage, like a pipe under the driveway you drove over to get up there. That's all gone. There's nothing there anymore. So that one is bizarre. So that one we could never investigate again if we wanted to.
Isn't it amazing how close I lived to that?
You're real close.
Yeah,
you're just.
I could literally walk there.
You're real close now. So I'm going to bounce around here to a house we did in Springfield a long time ago. This is a video, and the EVP was captured on the video, and it's one of the weirdest damn EVPs I think that I've ever heard. We corroborated this one with a recorder that was sitting nearby. It captured something similar, but it wasn't just like this. We wanted to make sure it wasn't a motorcycle because it sounds so fucking weird. So I'm going to pull up the video, which is available on the website, mwghosthunters.com, and you go to Amy and Tony's house. That's where we are on this one. So let me go ahead. I've fast forwarded through the video to the right spot. You're going to hear it here. Let me go ahead and just play it. It comes in again, but I'm not going to let it play because it's quite a ways away. But let me go.
This is the one that like mechanical almost.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's really bizarre. Let me play it again. We weren't in the house when that was captured, but that's what we got. And we caught that on a video. Now, I want to play one more from this house. This one is probably even more bizarre than the other one. Because back then, and a little bit now, we will still do this. Back then, we would do a full historical review of the house. We would look at who owned it, who built it, how long it's been there. We would look at the geology of the surrounding location. Now looking, as we look at it now, it's like, well, none of that really matters. We're either going to catch shit or we're not. But this was part of our, initial, pre-investigative work that we would do back then. And in the pre-investigative work we did on this one, there was a family who lived there whose last name was Morrissey a long time ago, because this house was actually part of the railroad in that they would let people who work for the railroad live in these certain houses, and this was one of them. I couldn't go so far as to corroborate a Morrissey with the railroad, but there were Morrisseys who lived there. Now keep that in mind when you listen to this EVP that we're going to play now that is just absolutely freaking nuts.
Is this the one where there was like a horrible murder?
Yeah, actually it is.
We did a railroad house where there was like a terrible triple murder or something like that.
I believe it is. I forgot about that aspect of it. Yeah, I believe that is. So let me go ahead and I'm going to turn my volume up here a little bit. We're all the way maxed out. Now I want you to listen. Keep it in mind, there was once a family who lived there with the last name of Morrissey. I want you to listen to this EVP that we got.
Can you tell us your name? How long have you been here?
If you listen to it really loud, I've got my volume completely maxed out. Did you hear the name at least?
Heard a little bit.
Okay,
yeah.
Let me do it again right after. I think that's you. Is that you that says,
so.
Can you tell us your name? Let me go to that spot again.
Can you tell us your name?
We had an enhanced version of that. You can hear the name Sarah, right?
A little bit.
In the enhanced version, which I no longer have on here, but I do still have somewhere, it sure as hell sounds like she says Sarah Morrissey. I'm going to play it one more time. Let me go to that spot again.
Can you tell us your name?
Sounds like
How long have you been here?
Morrissey to me.
Yeah, it
I
sure
can
does
hear
to
that.
me.
It kind of tapers off towards the end of the last name.
Yeah, but that one is just fucking nuts. I mean, now keep in mind, it was the four of us again. It was me and Dustin, Tyler, and John. We were the only ones in there. There was no female there. Yeah, that's nuts. Can we say 100% that that's Morrissey? Can't, but it sure as hell sounds like it to me.
Do we have the girl in the closet?
Yeah,
that icon.
Yeah, that was in.
This one also kind of fucked me up for a while.
That was in Mount Vernon at a house we did there, and I remember that night because it was fucking pouring flooding.
I will always love the Charlie Chaplin, I Knew Him.
Yeah, that one's good too.
That's good too.
That one we just got here.
Yeah.
This one stands out to me because apart from Mars Hill, it's the only time I thought that I might turn around and see a shotgun in my face.
Yeah, this
because
guy...
the guy was nice, but he was ex-military, and I hear a little girl in the closet, and I don't think ghost. I think little girl in closet, and then I think this guy's gonna want to kill us to keep us from reporting this captive girl in the closet.
You think it was gonna be put the dog in the basket?
Yes.
I'm glad that's not the case, because had this been, by the time he got to you with the shotgun, I would already have been dead, because I was in the living room with him.
Yeah. Well, you'd forget he's there. You know, he's sitting in a... He asked us respectfully,
nice guy.
politely, you care if I stay? I'm interested in this stuff. I'll sit here and I won't say a word.
We never allow that.
That's what he did. And he sat there and didn't say a fucking word.
No, you never heard it. We need to have him on the team now.
He's moved to Illinois, I believe now. I don't remember where he moved to. I'm going to play this EVP.
He'd be a fantastic ghost hunter.
Yeah, he would.
Because he was unfazed.
This is the EVP Dustin was talking about, hearing, maybe the first one you ever heard with your naked ears. But this is the sound that we caught out of the closet. Go ahead and listen to this one.
What was that? What? What's this? Did you hear that? Here, hang on. Let's rewind the tape. Here, I have it on my phone too. Yeah.
It was right there at the very beginning.
Yeah, but
Dustin,
there's
did you
another
catch it?
one. There's another one that is very clear, and she's laughing and everything else.
We've got the coughing kid. I don't remember the laughing one. I don't see it on here. If we did,
we might run through it. Just keep playing. Like the coughing one's good.
The coughing one is good, but here's the problem. We've taken a lot of the EVPs we captured at this house out because we'd used the ghost box. And then once we decided we weren't going to use the ghost box anymore, I went through all these and I yanked all those out. Because you remember we were talking on the old podcast over at the radio station about how you can't really 100% trust Frank's box to not be picking up a vocal from, radio junk. Bleeding over. What was that?
Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah.
Did everybody hear that?
Sure did.
Hunter, yes.
Yes,
Yep.
I heard that.
So we threw out a lot of those. I don't know if it was attached to one of those.
It's like fishing in a stocked pond because you're going to hear something.
Yeah, I mean...
You're going to hear what you want to hear.
But then again, I've also listened to other people using the Frank's box on like YouTube videos, and they catch vocals popping up through the EVP, through the white noise, like I don't remember us ever catching. So maybe we didn't give it enough of a chance. But that
white
doesn't
noise
mean...
is fine, but the problem is we would pick up actual stations with DJs saying shit.
And
why
how are
do
you going
we-
to differentiate that between an EVP that pops up in white noise? It's just not a badly received commercial.
Well, and why do we need it? We're picking them up without it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
So it's not like, I think John made the point. We would break out the Frank's box when nothing was happening because you can make something happen with one of those.
Yeah.
We weren't trying to do that at the time, but in retrospect, we now do believe, that for us, it's not the preferred piece of equipment. Where should I go here? Anybody have anything? I'm going to keep bouncing around.
Just click whatever catches your eye.
Okay. I do have one I want to play here that's from, let me find it. Here it is. This is when me and you and Tyler also went to Bolivar. It's a different house than the one we talked about earlier. And this is one of the damnedest, well, here, we got a couple from this place. But this one's one of the damnedest things that we've ever caught, ever. And something we heard on our on the recording, after the fact. And I want you to listen to this nonsense.
Out of the corner of my eye, I swear I keep seeing something right over there.
That's a baby.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like, you could always say, like, oh, that might be Melissa. That might be Bobby. That might be Chris.
No,
that
it
might
was
be
just
Dustin.
us.
We don't have a baby with us.
No, it was me, you, and Tyler. That's it. That was when we borrowed John's equipment.
There was no infant in the house.
It sounds like a little kid, when they try to scare you?
Yeah, it sounds like a kid trying to be scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that. I think I found that one.
And if you listen to it, you're going to hear, like, it even has the room echo.
Yeah.
Let me play it again. Let me play that again.
Out of the corner of my eye, I swear I keep seeing something right over there.
This is the same one, and then the burn is on here too.
Yes, I have that.
I've been wanting to hear this one for a long time.
talked about it a million times over the years. And for the longest time, we thought this is a video. Keep in mind, this is when we borrowed John's video equipment before he was ever even in the group.
Right, because I really wasn't sold on this whole ghost idea.
So we borrowed this shit and set it up. And we set this recorder up, and while me and Hunter were sitting here watching this video, which is a 10-minute long video, we left the room, the three of us did, and then you see the flashlight come on several times. Now, here's the thing. We had set this flashlight up like ghost groups do, you know, where you adjust the back a little bit so the battery contact isn't fully making contact, so all you have to do is tap it to get it to come on. We had done that. However, what happened on this motherfucker is the flashlight switch was turned on. The actual switch was moved on, not the little tapping on the battery part. When we came back inside, the flashlight was moved into the on position. But
wouldn't it have to have been moved off?
Or yeah, it was turned off. One of the two. However it was set, it was the opposite. I think you're right. It was turned off. Yeah, because it would have to be on before it would do the thing. We caught this EVP on the video, and I'm just going to play it for you. Then we'll talk about it, and we will play it again. I want you to listen. This is when we were leaving the room, so you're going to hear us kind of walking around, but you'll hear it come in. Here we go.
I mean, I hear burn for sure, and we've always debated on what comes after.
Well, there was no debate.
When we were in the radio station and we had those big production speakers hanging in the corners of the room, and we played this thing, we found it and we played it because we were going to play it on our podcast then. Remember, we let it play a little longer. It was like, wait a minute, play that again. And we played it again. It's like, holy shit, that says burn in hell. We could hear it very clearly on those overhead speakers. And I can hear it on this as well. You kind of have to listen back behind one of us talking, but let me go ahead and play it again. I hear it plain as day.
I hear a burn for sure.
You don't hear this. You don't hear the next two syllables.
I hear them, but I can't make them. I can't tell you what they are.
I've always internally debated on what comes next. I really hope it's not the in hell thing.
One more time. Let me do it one more time.
Forget it. So.
It's funny because in between the burn and hell, I heard Tyler say Jesus.
See, yeah. I'm hearing Jesus. But is that Tyler?
That's
okay,
that's
Tyler.
Yeah, that's it.
As an unbiased third party here, I can tell you it probably says burn in hell.
That's my catchphrase.
That was John's first grab, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning when I was sitting there with my headphones on listening to that, and I hear that, and I was like, oh, shit. And so I immediately sent Chris a message. And
he was up. Yeah.
And he's like, send it over. And so I sent it over, and he was like, this is the best one we ever caught.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Still pretty high on the list.
It's pretty damn good.
We didn't know that it said in hell until
no, that's what we were saying.
Until a decade later.
Yeah, we were in the radio station at that point, right?
Yeah.
Doing podcasts.
I just heard the burn and something.
We're like, it keeps going.
We don't talk about this one very much because there wasn't very much to talk about. But this is one when you had the flu, John had just had dental work or something.
I was sick. I was sick. Very rarely am I ever sick on investigation.
It was just us two.
Oh, I was sick.
You were sick. It was just me and Tyler.
It's the Seven house.
Yeah. So we went to this house.
Oh, the famous
hamstring.
Yes. And the reason we call it hamstring, and that's actually what it's called on the website. If you click on that button, it says 7/hamstring house. That's what it's called because that's how we refer to it on the podcast. Because the lady who lived there was a little rattled from living in a house where there was paranormal activity, and she started believing she was seeing the number 7, patterns of number 7 in everything. I mean, you know when you open a pack of tortillas and they've got little burn marks on them, she would see a burn 7 into her tortillas.
Or cut into a potato and see Jesus.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And she had taken like a piece of ham. And you know the ham that has the skin around it, when you're going to make a sandwich, some people will take that skin or off, that ring of skin off from around the ham. And she had... She had laid this ham on the counter, this ham string, if you will, the string o' ham. She had taken it off and thrown it on the counter, and it landed magically in... What the fuck was that?
I don't know.
Did you hear that?
I heard a...
Yeah.
Anyway, she had taken the string off the ham and laid it on the counter, and it had formed into, in her mind, the number 7. And she kept referring. Wasn't it still there, Tyler? Days later, wasn't the ham string still there?
It was still there on the counter.
She left it
She wanted
there.
to show it to us.
She wanted us to see the 7 on the ham. And then she took us out into the garage, and she's like, look there, 7. And then over here, there's 7. And she's like pointing to random blank spots on the wall. I didn't see jack shit.
But you caught some audio or something.
We did.
Like a singing or something.
The reason I even bring all that stuff up about the ham and all that is because that's one of the reasons why we really don't talk about this one very much. There's not a lot to talk about, but there is one really good EVP that came out of there because one of her claims was that she hears singing in the attic above her. And we were recording when we captured this one. So
I don't remember that.
That's the only one we caught.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't there, but I remember you reviewing this and sending it to me because it is so distinct.
I backed it up and played it while we stood there for him. We played that while we stood there because I was like,
it even sounds like a song that was made after 20 years after that. Like I have this song, I can't remember what it is, but it's someone singing.
I'm trying to think of what rhythm that would be.
Sounds kind of like a Carrie Underwood song, actually.
I don't know. I can't get there, but I'm going to play it again. So the girl was,
what was that?
The girl was standing there with us. It was me and Tyler, and then the girl who owned the house.
Did you hear it at the time?
Yes.
With your ears?
Yes.
Well, and you said, what was that?
Sure as shit, it came from right above. It came from above. In the attic.
That's a pretty talented ghost singer.
Not bad. They hit every note. So anyway, that was really the only one we caught there. I'm trying to think back. I remember when we did what we call the Buddhist house in Springfield because it was right near an Andy's Frozen Custard. Because
I remember this house
because the lady was so nice. Remember whenever
she went and got us.
She
Andy's.
went and brought back Andy's for all of us, one for each.
Yep.
So that was. So the people there were extremely nice, and I remember they had one room in the house.
You know, we can actually do an entire episode on that house because there was all kinds of stuff because we caught a shadow there.
The fan.
The fan was going on there. The whistling was in that house.
The whistling we've got here, that was... What do I keep hearing?
I don't know. But the
whistling was in the house. That was caught on video.
Remember when she kept saying, I'm getting shadow figures, and you're like, hey, come down here at the end of the hall and help me.
Yeah.
And so you see me set the camera up. I'm the last guy in the room, and then I go down, I turn left and go into the room with Chris, and after that, a shadow figure breaks the whole plane.
I do see the video of the whistling. Maybe it's on the same one. Here, this is it right here. We caught an EVP vocal response, and I kind of, again, I don't know that I've hit the playback button on this one in a decade. Maybe I have, and I don't remember. I'm going to play it right now to refresh our memory, because I don't remember this one.
We just want to know why you're here, how long you've been here, why you're scaring kids.
What?
What? Huh?
Speak up.
You got right to the point. Why are you scaring kids?
So listen, I'm going to play it again because in our back then we would listen to these and say, what do you think it says? What do you think it says? And then we would come up with what we think it says, and we would put that on the caption for the EVP. On this one, we put Dustin was performing an EVP session and said, we want to know why you're scaring kids, and the EV response sounds like it says they scare us. Okay, so let's listen again and see if we hear that, because this sounds brand new to me. I don't even remember it. Let me play it again.
We just want to know why you're here, how long you've been here, why you're scaring kids.
What?
I hear that.
It's in that stereotypical slow, creepy.
It's a weird vocal cadence, yeah. And it's not
just like they scare us. It's they scare us.
It sure as hell sounds like it says that. I'm going to go to that spot and
it's
play
3 syllables.
Yeah, I'm going to play that part again. Here we go.
Scaring kids.
What?
I'm glad we left that part in. Hey, me right there. What?
Huh? Do what?
Oh, man. Okay, so that's a really good one from that place. I mean, we could bounce around on these damn things, all day. Republic. I don't remember.
In an apartment, I think.
No, I think this is the one, but I'm trying to remember because we went there and then we went there almost exactly 10 years later, like a couple years ago. Remember the makeup thing came off the counter?
Yeah, the makeup thing got thrown at Chris that night.
Yeah.
But this is the original visit to that place because the second visit was during that period of time when we would do our podcasts on investigations and we would just consider the podcast the reveal, which was a dumb fucking idea.
The dark times.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
So I'm looking through here to see.
Do you want to pick up next week with that?
Yeah, we could. I would like to end with one more, and I'm trying to think which one we should end with. I don't really see. And let me look through here for just a minute. I'd like to end with a strong one. What's the strongest one we think that we could?
I mean, there's been so many that they all bleed together for me, but there have been some like growls.
Nobody hear that?
Yeah, I did. I heard something. I don't know what it was.
There have been growls and I don't know, creepy, scary demon noises.
I would like to end, I think, now that you mentioned growling, if I can find it, I would like to end with the growl that you guys heard.
The John, what was that? From Ashley's
That
house?
is my favorite. So, yeah, we could pick it up next week. I did want to end with a couple of our stronger, some of the scary shit. A lot of stuff we get isn't necessarily patently scary. It's just weird.
There's a difference in my head between scary and creepy.
Where would these fall?
These are scary.
Okay.
Creepy is little girl in a closet in my head.
Yeah.
Whispering. This is actually scary.
I'm going to do two. Before I play the one that's probably one of my all-time favorites, I'm going to play another one. I want you guys to listen to this from Ashley's house, one of our visits a couple of years ago. Listen to this.
If you're over there by that horse,
It was the same sound over and over.
come out.
That makes me think that it's just something that we're not catching. But I haven't heard it since.
Do you want me to leave?
Come on, we're not here to hurt you.
I mean, you hear that, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You hear the Bengal tiger,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
That was when it first started happening. And then it started getting louder until we get to this one.
Does anybody want to come out and play?
Is that him or what is that?
I don't know.
What was that? John, what was that?
Halloween time.
What was that? We just heard a scream, a growling.
So it's a big deal to me because Tyler heard it in the open.
Which means the next door neighbors probably heard it.
So I'm going to go back to that part again, and we're going to end with this one. So let me go there again one more time.
I don't know.
What was that? John, what was that?
It's crazy. It's
I don't know
insane.
what that was. It's nuts. So anyway.
And the thing that adds to this is that we kept this is just the loudest one. We heard it 3 or 4 or 5 times.
Oh, many times, yeah.
And it was all the same. I can picture.
I don't like what I see.
I don't either.
Are you going to say you can picture what this would look like?
Yeah.
Looks like the dog thing on Ghostbusters.
That's exactly what I picture.
Yeah, the demon dog.
Just a demon dog.
Yeah, that's kind of what I see
Coughing
too. It
up
sounds
something.
it actually sounds like that.
It does. Yeah.
Anyway, that's a quick look at some of our EVPs we've caught over the years. We're going to wrap up this week, and we'll come back and see you here next weekend.
More Dark Matter next week from Pythian Castle in Springfield, Missouri with Midwest Ghost Hunters.